Welcome
Hello.
to Conch Productions, February 27, 2024 Artist Chat. My name is Magali Colimon-Christopher. I am the founder and artistic director of Conch Productions. And hey, if you don't know about us, our whole mission is to showcase and highlight and celebrate the voices of the Caribbean diaspora and Caribbean theater and film artists. And today, our guest is Gretchen Suarez-Pena. Hey!
Hello.
Hi, Gretchen. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm like really prepped to introduce everybody to who you are in case you don't know Gretchen. You're about to get to know her, and trust me, you're going to know her for a while. Gretchen is a Puerto Rican playwright based in Central Florida, but right now she's in Pittsburgh because she's getting an MFA. She's an MFA candidate in dramatic writing at Carnegie Mellon University School of Drama, and she graduates when?
This May.
Yes, thank you very much. Gretchen is a member of Conch Productions Artist Collective, and her new play, Searching for Abuelo, will be premiering at the Tank in New York City, which is over on 36th Street. And it's going to be during Women's History Month, next month, March 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th. Snap, 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 snap.
Very soon. Thank you.
How
What a
are
great
you
introduction.
feeling? How are you feeling?
It's exciting. It's exciting. I can't believe it. It feels like it was just yesterday that, this kind of came into my lap. I mean, I'm sorry, not yesterday. It feels like it was like several months ago. And I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it at the Tank. It's gonna happen at the Tank in New York City. And now I'm like, wait, it's next week. Time flies.
Yeah. Time flies, and we need to just be grateful for every single second, right?
That's right.
So our topic today, I hate to jump to the topic, but this is a juicy topic. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about the impact of the past on their voice, the impact of their heritage on their voice. So today we're going to be talking about the impact of the past on emerging voices of female Caribbean and Caribbean diaspora artists. And Gretchen,
Yes.
when you think of that, when you think of your Puerto Rican heritage and the history of your family, what are some key words and images that just come swirling into your mind?
Lots of food. 'Cause that's important. But yeah, food, pride, just a lot of a sense of pride, and loss, because I feel like my family has had to deal with loss, especially recently, which is a little unfortunate. Memory, just the idea of memory and determination. I feel like my family's pretty darn relentless. So, yeah, so, I know those are like disparate images, or thoughts, but yeah, those are kind of the things that I'm thinking about. Yeah, when I think about family.
So how do those images, memory, food, loss, pride, how does that impact your writing?
Yeah, it's interesting because I came to grad school to find my voice as an artist and figure out what it is I write. And, some people they kind of lean towards more for a genre or, a type of, they're more dramatic or they're more comedic. But what I realize is that themes are things that are more prevalent in my pieces, and the themes of memory and loss and time are something that I talk about basically in every single one of my pieces. And so this idea of the past impacting the present is a very common theme in my work, is what I'm realizing. Even if it's a comedic piece or it's a short piece or a long piece, those are like the themes that keep coming up. And that's what I've figured out about myself recently.
So what tends to spark those memories? Would it be like an incident, a news article, or just a dream? What tends to spark that first idea that says, let me write this?
Yeah, I mean, an event, a news article, those are always sources of inspiration. Music, because music is one of those things that, especially if you know a song, like you remember where you were when you heard that song, I said food, so like smells. Smells are like actually the strongest part of our memory. And so sometimes I'll smell something and I'll be like, oh, and that evokes an image and that evokes an idea. So yeah, all of those things can be a trigger for memory and can bring up ideas to that need to be written down. So yeah, I think all of those things. Music is a big one for sure.
I love that. So if anybody has access to like typing on their computer or their device, if there's a particular song that makes you go, or a particular piece of music that makes you go, it doesn't have to be a song with lyrics. It's just that one key or a dish or a sight. Feel free to type it in the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts about how these memories, the past, references to past experiences impact you. So let's talk about searching for abuelo. Do you feel that the theme of memory is impacting? Okay, honestly, everybody, I'm directing the play, so I know what I'm asking about. So okay. But
you have a little bit of inside knowledge, just a little bit.
I have a little bit. I have a little bit. I'm directing it, and I've been reading it, but you know, I really feel we've never really talked about this, right? So how does the theme, I mean, of course, the piece is about memory, but what was the spark to say, I'm going to write this piece? Because everyone, listen very carefully to what I'm about to say to you. Gretchen wrote it. She's acting in it and she's producing it. She's like wearing so many hats, and she does that in her work overall. And yeah, I'm pumping her up. But this woman, okay, I'm going to tell them the truth about you, is a trained engineer who said, you know what, there's more to me. I'm going to totally evolve as the being that I was meant to be. And now she's going to be on stage next week, dancing, singing, and performing her heart out. So tell me, what made you say, I'm going to write this play and I'm going to perform it?
Well, I'll be honest, I did it on a dare. Yeah. So I have a friend who does solo shows. That's all he does. And I saw his performance and I was like, hey, you know, I've been writing plays my whole life. What's your process of writing a solo show? And he completely just diverted that question. He's like, have you ever performed your own work? And I was like, I mean, I've done some readings. And he's like, no. Have you ever written and performed your own work? And I said, no. And he's like, you have to do that. And I'm like, why? He's like, it'll make you a better writer. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, why don't you do it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. He's like, you're scared. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, that's why you have to do it. So he kind of dared me to write a solo piece. And so when I came, you know, he's like, what would you write it about? And I kind of shot out a couple of ideas, but the first one that I said was, I feel like I'd write it about my grandfather that I never met. And so, you know, there's all these other things that I wanted to talk about. He's like, great, do it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. But then I came to grad school and I challenged myself to write something that I've never written before. So I did two things. I wrote a children's play and then I wrote this solo show. And honestly, Magali, it came very much, I don't know, sometimes some things come inspirationally, like they just come from the ether. And then sometimes I outline, you know, and I'm more like engineering, I'm more like methodical about it. But no, it just kind of came to me as like, as just like the ancestors. The ancestors were like, finally, she's gonna write what she needs to write. And so it just started coming in waves. And I kind of wrote it in like these random waves. And then I started, for some reason, bomba, which is the musical dance genre in Puerto Rico, it's Afro-Puerto Rican, came into my psyche. And I was like, I'm going to frame it in the style of bomba, this dance that is, you know, and this music that is integral to the identity of Puerto Rico. And I've never danced bomba in my life. And I was like, I'm not only going to perform a solo show, but I'm going to learn a dance that I've never danced in my life. And so yeah, it all came from a dare, but like
Mm.
it needed to happen. It was like the catalyst that needed to happen so that I would write this piece. And yeah, memories, things that I had forgotten that were told to me just kind of started coming back. And I was like, did I hear that right? And I like check in with my mom and be like, is this the right story? And she's like, yeah, this is what happened. And I was like, oh. And so things just started coming. So I really do feel like my grandfather, the ancestors, they were just gifting me all of these memories and this idea to kind of keep doing it. But performing it has been very instructional for me to become a better writer. And I think that if there are any other writers out there, performing your own work really challenges you to think about the actor and to think about embodying the words that you're writing. And so best decision I ever made. Scariest decision I ever made, but best decision I ever made.
So you started workshopping it as part of the Artist Collective last year, and I directed the first reading. And since then, it's won a bunch of awards. You went from, doing a reading of it for our audience to presenting it fully produced. So what has that been like? How has the play evolved for you as the writer and performer over the past year? Because you presented it, I think it was March 2023, right?
Mhm.
So this is going to be a year anniversary in a way.
Yeah, a little less than a year because I think we did the reading March 30th. And that
Yes,
was,
yes.
yeah. And that was, that process, I was revising and reworking it. And I had been actively working on it since the fall of 2022, revising it for the reading, and then, revising it again after the reading, after getting feedback. And then when I got selected for the Voices of Women theater festival, I was like, oh, I need to, do this. So I started learning bomba, and that kind of changed a little bit of my writing. And like when I was rehearsing, I was like, oh, this order needs to change. And, then I won the Voices of Women Theater Festival and I got selected for the Tampa Bay Theater Festival. And that was another iteration of just, I always think of it as I think it was who did the David statue. My ignorance is showing.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo. He says
Michelangelo.
that he carved out the David, right? Like that he carved away everything that wasn't the David. And so that's what I feel like I do. Like it's a lump of clay. And then, I form it and then I chisel away until the clay comes out. So that iteration, won at the Tampa Bay Theater Festival. And then I saw Austin Laznowski. So the Laznowski family, Austin Laznowski is actually producing the show. They are
Oh,
funding. They are
okay.
funding the show. So
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, Austin, for funding it. This production would not be possible without him, literally. And yeah, so that got chiseled away. And then when this got selected so doing it at the Tank in New York, it's another iteration. Working with you, Magali, has been so instrumental because you're a director and you have a director's eye, and looking at what's the voice that we're doing, or who's the voice that's speaking here, how is the audience receiving and interacting with this piece. And theater's collaborative, so it constantly shapes. And I feel like even after this iteration, like I'll have a new lens on it, and we'll be able to refine it even more. So yeah, when people ask me, oh, like when are you done with the play? And I'm like, I don't remember who it was, maybe Oscar Wilde or somebody was like, plays are never done, they're just abandoned. And so I will keep working on this piece, until it's published or something, or whatever happens to it next. But yeah, it's been really instrumental to me as a writer, and to be able to perform these words. It's helped shape me for real as a writer.
And I'm looking forward to the audience's response to it, because this is a healing play, right? When you talk about art that changes, art that awakens, this is one of those plays. That's one of the reasons why I love it. And now you're premiering it in New York City. Well, you're going to be premiering it next week. So what thoughts are coming to mind when you think of that?
It's wild, mostly because New York always seemed like this far off place that I wasn't going to be in. And then actually since the pandemic, I've been there more than ever. um, but honestly, I think the feelings that are coming over me is my abuelo, who I talk about. He wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be a writer, and he lived in New York City for many years. And so this feels like an offering to him in many ways. Like you didn't get to finish what you wanted to, you didn't get to finish what you started, so I will finish it for you. And so this feels very full circle. And so like it just feels like, to me, it's like it's a privilege and an honor to be able to just be in the city and to do this for him, because it's an offering to my family of like, this is what he wanted, so I'm gonna do it, you know.
I love that. I love
Hmm.
that. It's an offering.
Hmm.
It's an offering. Yeah, because that's what we do as artists. We provide an offering to society
Mm.
of a viewpoint that may expand them, right? And or it's an offering to the ancestors of, is this your story? Have I honored you? Which is
Mm.
basically what I think of when I think of Searching for Abuelo. So you've created this beautiful piece. You've challenged yourself.
Too much.
No, it's never too much. It's like when you get through the fire, you're like, oh, that was just fire.
That's just
It's like
fire.
there's just fire. Oh my God, there's so much more. But the thing is, once you get through it, that you are all the more magnificent and all the more self-realized as a not only a human being, but as a creative being, as a spiritual being.
Mm.
So, given your experience with this piece, I know you have many other pieces, but your experience with this piece, because it's a very personal story,
Mhm.
what is your advice to Caribbean diaspora and Caribbean emerging writers on the relevance of embracing or exploring the past as a means by which to further delve into the present and envision the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say d whatever relationship you have to your roots as a Caribbean diaspora person, dig deeper. I
Mm,
even feel like I've scratched the surface. Like, I don't feel like I've dug in deep enough, and I'm gonna continue to dig in deep enough, and I'm gonna continue to dig in, which is what this show has helped me do, is to dig, but it has propelled me to dig even more in the future. And so I'd
mhm,
say embrace your roots, dig deeper into them, and use that as a catalyst for the present and the future. And I think my big takeaway for this show that I want people to get from it, whether it be Caribbean diaspora, artists or just general public, is you are made of people. You are made up of a history that you're not even aware of. Like, you are not here. Um, I don't believe anybody's here by accident. Like, you're here because there were people in your past family that came before you, and you stand on the shoulders of giants. So I really encourage people, especially in the Caribbean, where sometimes they tell us like, oh, there's no history in the Caribbean.
mm,
No, there's tons of history in the Caribbean. Dig into your family roots, dig into that experience, and find yourself in the midst of these people that made you, that literally and figuratively have made you a person here on earth. So yeah, I think a lot of people maybe feel uncomfortable digging into their past or digging into the roots because it feels complicated or difficult or uncomfortable. But honestly, I feel like you have to dig into the things that make you uncomfortable to come out on the other side a bigger person. And maybe talk about things that aren't, or explore things that maybe are a little prickly, maybe are a little difficult
mm,
to
mm.
digest, And so I think that sometimes going through the fire is that's how we refine gold. And so I'm gonna be gold on the other end. I'm gonna go through the fire.
I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Gretchen. And if you haven't gotten your ticket to see Searching for Abuelo, you better hurry up and get it. It's a very intimate theater. When you think intimate, think not too many seats, and you really want to be there live for this play. And just go to Gretchen's Instagram page to find access to the link to get tickets, or just go to thetank.com, thetanknyc.com. But in the end, I can't imagine not experiencing this play, especially as, you know, what I really love is the fact that your poster has your grandfather's picture on it, you know, and so many people say, but why is it her grandfather, not her grandmother? It's like, it doesn't matter. It's the spirit of this ancestor and the impact of this journey on her journey, because it's a very personal story will awaken you, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
Well, and to those who wonder why it's my grandfather, not my grandmother, it's because I had the privilege and honor of knowing both of my grandmothers, who maybe I'll write a sequel and it'll be Searching for Abuela, but I knew them. So it'll be like knowing Abuela, because I knew both of them, and both of them are important to my life. And I knew my other grandfather, but this is one grandfather that I did not know. And he was an artist, and he's really the only other artist in my family. So that unknowing is why I'm going on the journey. It's to learn, it's to know. So I had the privilege and beauty of having, you know, both of my grandmothers in my life, which is lovely. I unfortunately didn't have this grandfather. So sometimes we go searching for the thing that we're missing, and not that we don't appreciate the things that are already there, but you know, the things that are missing are always intriguing to us. You always wonder, what if, who was this person, you know? So come on the journey with me. Come search for this man that I never met, that, you know, wasn't here for very long on earth, but has already made an impact on people that he never even got to meet. So that's why.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Conch Productions, we have an amazing season ahead of ourselves. Gretchen is a member of our advisory board. So if you ever want to know what's going on, be sure to check our Instagram page, Conch Productions, at Conch Productions. Check our Facebook page. But more importantly, check out our film festival page. We have a film festival coming up. October 2024, in person in New York City. You got to stay tuned, and you got to submit your film. It's a short film festival. Submit your film. Get it out there. Get your voice heard. Get your story understood. All right. So, and also, by the way, Gretchen is going to be teaching an amazing workshop for writers. It's called Submitting, Planning, and Management for the Writer. So Gretchen is open and available to inspire. So not only are you going to see her film, her play, but you're going to experience her empowerment of you. See you March 5th, 6th, 7th, or 9th, or all of those dates. Thank you so much, Gretchen. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out and supporting us. I know you were shy, you didn't have any questions to ask, but go ahead, come see the show. Ask your questions then. Have a great night. Happy Black History Month and happy Women's History Month. Boom,
That's
boom,
right.
boom.
Right there, back to back.
We're on that cusp. We're on that cusp. Have a great night.